Hey, Hound Dogs, I'm David Hankins.
And I'm Paul Hankins.
And I'm Trevor Hankins.
And welcome to A Week in Power Squared. The last couple of weeks on this channel, we've been doing character profiles. One that Paul read for Marty Powers and one that Trevor read for Eli Powers. We want you to check those out. And in other news of Power Squared, we put out issue number 9 this week. Came out on Wednesday. And we encourage you, of course, to buy it. It's available at several locations, and you can find all of those at powersquaredcomicbook.com/shop.
Link in the description.
Right. But we want to spend most of the time, because it is Scooby-Doo month on Trophy Unlocked, which is Paul's blog that we all write for. We want to spend some time this time talking about Scoob.
So Scoob was originally going to be released theatrically, but then because of COVID-19, it got delayed indefinitely, and then partly due to the success of Trolls 2 with direct-to-digital, they decided to release it on the original release date, which was yesterday as of this recording. So we decided to buy it for $25 instead of renting it for $20.
Yeah.
And so, do you have any experience with Scooby-Doo prior to this?
I want to say I wasn't really watching cartoons too much, but when Scooby came out originally, at least I wasn't watching those. I've seen some, obviously you guys have had us watch some of the direct-to-video movies, and I have seen some of the episodes on television, but I was never, I'll be honest, a huge Scooby-Doo fan.
Yeah, we were exposed to Scooby-Doo through Boomerang reruns, and then later got into it more because of Mystery Incorporated. And then because of that, we watched stuff like Zombie Island, and then it kind of went from there.
I think the first one we had, the first series I watched was What's New Scooby-Doo.
Yeah.
And so you're anticipating this movie?
Yeah. I wasn't quite sure what to think of it because they revealed it was part of this Hanna-Barbera cinematic universe, which everyone's trying to do because Marvel, without understanding why it worked for Marvel. So then we finally sat down to watch it, and it was okay, I guess.
Kind of a disappointment?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so first with the story. It tried to do too much.
Yes.
There was enough material for maybe 2 or 3 movies that they tried to Frankenstein's monster together. Yeah.
One of the things that really worked for Marvel was establishing some of the main characters. You know, there was Iron Man and Thor and Captain America each had their own movies, and they kind of gave you their origin stories, and you kind of were able to, okay, like that character and this character, let's see what they would do together, instead of, in this case, they just...
Yeah, they just mashed Scooby-Doo, Dynamite, and Wacky Races, kind of.
With a little bit of Captain Caveman thrown in for good measure.
Yeah, into this one thing that just doesn't quite gel well at any point. It kind of expects you to care about these characters, even though I want to say 3 out of 4 of them, no one really knows.
Yeah.
Or at least kids probably wouldn't know who they are, because Scooby-Doo has the star power here. And even though it didn't really feel like a Scooby-Doo movie, because yes, there was a mystery, but that got solved pretty quickly, and it turned into more of an adventure movie that still didn't quite follow the, good pacing. It went at a very breakneck pace, and very little time for anything to really breathe.
Right. And really, except for Scooby and Shaggy, the other members of the team really weren't featured very much.
Yeah, not really. And I want to say their personalities were kind of reduced.
Yeah.
Compared to even the DTV stuff.
Yeah. And yeah, there was just, I think, some sort of kind of sloppy writing in it as well.
Yeah. And then, of course, there's the cameo from Simon Cowell. Which, I don't know why. It's the making an American Idol reference is so dated that Shrek 2 did it.
Yeah.
In the early 2000s. And so it kind of doesn't work, I want to say 16 years later.
Yeah. it made no sense to me why, of all the celebrities, they could have made up somebody would have been probably better.
Yeah, it could even have. They could even just used another Hanna-Barbera or Scooby-Doo character, and you wouldn't notice.
Yeah.
Oh, it could have even been Vincent Van Gogh, even if he was out of character. That still would have worked better.
Yeah, it just seemed like why Simon Cowell, why now, and why and he didn't really add anything to it, and he was drawn to look like Simon Cowell.
Yeah. So that was a little uncanny there too.
Yeah.
And I realized that with, I guess, kids' movies or family movies or whatever, they throw in references for the adults to get. So I don't know if making a reference to American Idol that goes on for like 30 seconds, it felt like, if Trevor and I are now the adults they're trying to appeal to.
Maybe.
I just couldn't help making that kind of observation.
Because it really dates the movie. I mean, he's not it's not like, he's Paul McCartney.
Right.
He's Simon Cowell, a reality TV star now, and,
Yeah, but they also date the movie by having Blue Falcon, like, dabbing during his entrance, and then, or at the end of his entrance, then making references to, like, Tinder and Netflix, and...
Yes. And then they give you part of the origin story. It seems like it's set now.
Yeah.
But then the story starts 10 years later, all right?
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, so is this future now? Or, it's...
And then with Blue Falcon's attitude, or I guess it's not really Blue Falcon, but anyway, Blue Falcon is written in such a way that he might as well have just said #blessed at some point during the movie.
Yeah.
Or just any of those dated hashtags.
Yeah, it reminded me more of like a DreamWorks movie.
Yeah.
Those things are like...
It's like pre-Kung Fu Panda DreamWorks.
Yeah, there are all these current references you'll get in the moment, but in 5 years you're like, well, what's that? Or,
Yeah.
You're not going to show it to your grandkids because they'll go, what's that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Who's Martin Scorsese?
it didn't really get me excited for any like further entries in the Hanna-Barbera cinematic universe. This is a really sloppy first showing, if that was their intent. And I ultimately felt like, as far as the writing is concerned, at least, it could have just been a Dynamut movie.
Yeah, they could have just taken the Dynamut subplot and made that its own movie.
There's enough material for that, but they didn't like expand on the emotional core of any of that.
No.
And then, of course, we realized, kind of while watching the movie, or maybe even afterwards, that the only real reason they mash up like Scooby-Doo, Dynamut, and Wacky Races is because the connection is like, Shaggy, Blue Falcon, and Dick Dastardly have dogs.
Yeah.
That's a very flimsy connection between them because they don't even do anything with them. Like, there's this...
they don't do enough with it.
yeah, like, there's a scene where Shaggy and Blue Falcon are kind of talking just to each other. That could have been... Based on what was happening in the story at that point, that could have led to a moment where they talk about, like, their connection to their dogs or something, but nothing ever comes of that.
And I'm wondering if maybe they did this... I mean, again, we talked about... At least I talked about how Marvel, built it up character by character.
Yeah.
And maybe there's this concern they got to get it now because you don't know. A lot of times the second movie in a series is better than with, let's say, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
The second live action movie, I've heard people say that's the one they wish the first one had been.
Yeah.
And so you've lost audience because the first one is sort of disappointing and you want to get to that second one. Maybe the concern was if we don't get everything going now, we're not going to have that second or third movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So let's introduce everybody up front, and then because I don't know if people would go see a Blue Falcon movie.
Right.
Now, if they did the character right, maybe you would. But I mean, and they're probably trying to go on name recognition. That's why it's called Scoob, not Hanna-Barbera family.
Marvel managed to pull it off with Iron Man, but still.
Yeah, and now we kind of think of Iron Man as a major character. At the time, he was kind of like he wasn't Spider-Man.
Yeah, and then, of course, the movie also gives Dick Dastardly his own version of the Minions, which everyone kind of hates at this point because of overexposure. Like, there was a point where you just could not escape the Minions, but studios clearly just want more Minions kind of thing, so they can hopefully sell toys.
Well, this is probably part of the pitch is, it's like this movie and this movie, and we can have, yes, the toys and all that has to be in there. So, yeah.
Yeah.
It probably worked well in some sort of marketing meeting, but it didn't work well on the screen.
Yeah. And then with the story, there was part of it that got resolved completely off screen.
Yes.
And then there are a lot of conveniences just to make things keep going.
Yes.
What was better than the story was the animation.
Yeah, the animation was really good.
Yeah, they even went out of their way to recreate the original opening in the new style. And it was pretty good.
Yeah.
I thought. And they tried to have the theme song that went with it kind of sound more like the original. So they clearly had passion for this. It's just it had a bad script. And then, of course, there's the voice acting.
And what do you think of the voice acting?
I thought
Frank Walker was good as Scooby because he's been voicing him for a while.
Yeah. I generally thought the previous cast was more fitting for Scooby-Doo. Matthew Lillard was a better Shaggy than Will Forte.
What's weird is that, Zac Efron voicing Fred.
Yeah.
It's like you have Frank Walker as Scooby, but you don't have him also voice Fred, so that's weird. He's been doing Fred since, the beginning.
Yeah. But the voice acting overall is generally kind of okay, I guess.
Simon Cowell was Simon Cowell.
Yeah.
Because nobody else could do that.
And Dynamite was generally the best character.
Yes. Kind of he was.
Yeah. That's another reason this should have been a Dynamite movie.
It's why wasn't this movie about him?
Again,
Yeah.
I'm assuming it's name recognition.
Yeah.
Of all the Hanna-Barbera stuff, at least that Scooby-Doo is one of the better known.
Yeah. So, overall, Scoob, I'm not 100% sure it was worth... What?
Was it worth $25?
Maybe not $25. But I wouldn't want to spend $20 and then have it disappear in a couple days. So,
Yeah.
there's a trade-off there.
Now we kind of own it forever.
Yeah.
If you really own something digitally.
Yeah. So, I'm not really sure that they could keep a Hanna-Barbera universe going after this.
Yeah, they kind of missed the opportunity.
Yeah. And,
Unless they managed to do a second one, it's just really good.
yeah. I think if the story was more like an actual Scooby-Doo story, it probably would have at least been more enjoyable.
Yes.
Zombie Island, still followed the general, Scooby-Doo style, even though it was, a darker take on it.
Yeah, but that still felt like Scooby-Doo.
Yeah.
Yes.
You had all the characters involved, not just two.
Yeah, so I guess our ultimate conclusion is this is not a terrible movie, but it's not a good Scooby-Doo movie.
Yes.
Okay. And there'll be a review of this on Trophy Unlocked soon.
Yes,
Which who's writing?
I'm writing it.
Okay. So I guess we know where you're going to go with it.
I think that's about it for the main meat of this video.
All right.
If you liked it, leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more. And make sure to ring that notification bell if you want to see exactly when these videos go up, because that's how YouTube works for some reason. And leave a comment if you have a different opinion on Scoob, or if you have an opinion on which incarnation of Scooby-Doo is the best, which we also have as a poll question at our website.
PowersquaredComicBook.com/poll.
Yes.
And you can vote about which is your favorite incarnation of Scooby-Doo, and Scoob is one of the choices.
Yes.
So we'll see if it gets any votes.
Yes.
And it's up for the rest of the month, so we hope that you'll vote there.
Yeah.
Okay. So until next week, I'm David Hankins,
I'm Paul Hankins.
I'm Trevor Hankins.
and this has been A Week in Power Squared.